Welcome back. Now, Super Rugby Round 10 was watertight with few tries being scored, as the both proved to be quite decisive. And no more apparent was this than the game between Crusaders and Chiefs. You know, the tries were few and far between, and Colin Slade's boot, you know, proved to be decisive, securing that upset win.
Yes, Madoy, and we've always said it here. The game changers are the kickers, usually in such high contest games. And going into this game, it was always going to be a big one and build. But like I said in the previous show, Crusaders coming off, I think, the 66 thumping in their earlier game, were a team to look at. And the form with which they are playing, I'll repeat, it will take Crusaders to lose the game. I see another team struggling against them.
But previously, from round 9 down to round 1, the average of the tries per game was, I think, just under 5. Actually, it was 4.8. This weekend, it came, you know, markedly down, you know, from 4.8 to something like 1.6.
Yes, but you look at the games on card, Sharks Lions. You are not going to expect many tries in such a game. You look at the Crusaders game. There were actually tight contests this weekend, and all these games, we looked out of 5 games, 3 looked like finals basically. So it was bound to happen that we're going to have low try scoring there.
And of course, Alan, you were not here last weekend when we were waxing lyrical about the Western Force, but they did come unstuck against the Rebels. Do you expect them to get their groove back? You know, they're taking on Phillips Bulls this weekend, today.
Well, the Western Force, I can believe they just started over the weekend. Let me say they just started. The Bulls. not doing well.
The Bulls took on Waratahs and they lost. You know,
they've lost 3 games on the trot. So it's going to be about them trying to stop the rot, but I don't see it happening against the Force, particularly the Bulls playing away from home. I really do not see it working out. I bet the Force started, and it was again a 6-point game, and I would expect them to go all out. They need a revival, and they need it quick. They need to still keep within the wild card places. So I believe the Force.
And of course, badly enough, they've lost the lock there. Flip Van der Merwe to suspension makes things harder.
But what happened to your Bulls? You know, they went asleep in the first 28 seconds of the game, did they? You know, considering that well-worked try.
I think there was a lapse in concentration, either also fatigue taking its toll. But Bulls on the road, you're never optimistic. They are good when they are home. I mean, you saw them take on Sharks and pull out amazing scores there. But then on the road, they'll face a weaker opponent, and it's the opposite.
And any other standout fixtures we have this weekend?
This weekend it is going to be the Brumbies and the Chiefs. There is very, very little between them. They're both tied on 25 points in total, and their points difference is only 10. So it is really, really going to be a clash of the Titans, and it's going to be 2 versus 3 on the log table. So it's really, really going to be an amazing clash, and it's going to be on Friday. So it sets up the weekend perfectly for another round of brilliant rugby. But that is going to be the game to watch. Brumbies Chiefs, I believe, is going to be.
Then, of course, today you'll have Force beating Bulls there, if I may say. Cheetahs, Stormers, and Hurricanes Reds.
Well, let's move on now, because the Bamburi Rugby Super Series is back. Players will be hoping that the turkey that they ingested over the long Easter period does not stand between them and a good display. Uganda's Victoria will get things underway when they take on Kenya's Chui at 2:30 p.m. Renzori will then lock horns with Papa. That's at 4:30 p.m. All these games will, of course, be at Chadondo. And Philip, what do you think of Victoria's chances? From what I understand, Victoria's coach, that's Robert Seguya, you know, read the riot act to some of his players, and actually, most of them, I don't think they got the chance of enjoying, you know,
Easter turkey. No, it was bound to happen, but Victoria, of course, were very hurt after that loss. That is Protector, Victoria Protector there. And Robert Seguya, of course, himself on recovery. The first thing there was to get this back in order. I mean, you have a game coming up in a few days. He had to talk to the team, look at the final, where did we lose it, where could we have won it, look at changes that need to be made, and of course take them through the paces. I mean, like we said before, that's where fitness will come in.
Yeah.
You don't have that rest period. You've
Yeah.
played the final on Saturday, you have a big game in a week. They didn't have the time to go for that Easter turkey, of course.
Yeah, and of course, Alan, you will be coaching Renzori today. You will be again in the dugout, and I'm interested to know, this balancing act that you're going to have to pull off. Fusing players from Fimbos and players from Crocs. There are some unbelievably good players from Fimbos. I watched the young number 10. Edmond Tumsime, their time round, they have also Byron Atubikire there. They have Eric Butime, a very good second row.
I think Eric got national team call-up.
Yes, Eric is now working out with the national team, so he is not available for.
And I saw Stone their time jogging to Makera. I don't know if Tony Duja, if it's also part of your setup.
Again, he's one of my makeshift subs, because if you look at my bench was a little thin in terms of the backs, and I was heavily piled with forwards.
Yeah.
But I'd have to change that around. And yes, we have had 2 good weeks of training. And the fusion, the good thing is the rugby players have to adapt.
Yeah.
So I have been getting them to do quite a bit of game plan during the light, and then when it becomes dark, then we run through the Makere Hills.
Yeah.
That is because conditioning was one of our biggest problems during the Protector Super Series.
Well, just more time for one more interview, which we conducted with a man who has been throwing his weight around Ugandan rugby circles for some time. Brian Makalama acquitted himself as a rugby cranes prop and Uganda ladies cranes coach. Now based in Kenya, Makalama is part of the Ndovu backroom staff. He's been telling us what to expect from the Kenyan franchise sides.
For me coming here, I don't have the trouble of taking people to the gym. I have guys already being sorted out in the gym, so my work is only cut out. Stick to the pitch and the technical plays of rugby. A club needs to get homegrown. We compared looking at us, we cannot share one pitch. Chadod has about six teams there. Kampala has about 4 main teams. You need to break out from the one club, one pitch to each team having a pitch. So if each team has its own pitch, that means that there is a growth of they will be challenged to having an own gym, and they will be challenged to having an own strength and conditioning guy to develop the guys and rugby there. Okay, now the players from South Africa will not be involved in the Bamburi sides. Their work is cut out to prepare for the World Cup thing. So now clubs have been challenged to develop another crop of players. This shows that there's lots of depth, player depth in Kenya. So they've withdrawn all the big guys, stick to national team training, and that's how they to perform and compete. Yeah, the quality will be competitive because there are so many youngsters who are only being kept on the low because of the senior players now. The senior guys are out. The competition might not be as competitive as earlier because it was mainly made for selection of the national team. But I think we shall see a new crop of players, not the usual crop of players that we people know. Okay, the conditioning is being done on a club level. You see, there's a supply of supplements down to the clubs. It's not given for the individual, but it's being used at the ground level. In the morning, you have supplementation. In the morning, in the gym.
What protein, carbohydrates? What exactly?
Food supplementation. Mainly, okay. There's the shakes. They get the shakes. They get the capsules. And then they also provide a meal after sessions.
Okay.
So players don't have to go home hungry. At least you are sure their bodies are being fed. Those guys have more training days. You can look at like West Mountain Bulls. They train from Tuesday to Thursday. Tuesday only to Thursday. So Monday is dedicated to the gym. Friday is preparation for the game. So from Monday to Thursday.
So basically,
Drill session in the morning, then the pitch work in the evening.
so basically, you're training from Monday to Friday.
Yes, Monday to Friday.
Then you rest Sunday.
You rest Sunday, yes.
Okay, Brian, man, thanks for your time, man.
Okay, boss.
Keep in touch.
Makalama there sizes up the Kenyan franchise sides. What do you make of his assessment? He's obviously an assistant coach of Ndovu, but we also have Papa there, we have Chui, and Chifaru as well. These are 4 franchise sides. What do you make of them?
Well, again, they have tremendous players. And even with the subtractions with the national team on duty and probably the 7s players not being available for selection, we still believe that they have enough to be able to push through and be able to give us a very, very stern test in this. But again, our players have to stand up and be there to be counted. I mean, we've gotten to finals before, and if you don't go to Kenya, if you go to Kenya and don't get intimidated by the crowd, then you have a huge, huge chance. And the good thing is rugby is about 2 sides who come out to face each other, and either side has a chance. So we just have to get out there. We have to prepare our players to go there and give the best that they can. And it's going to be a stunt test. But I believe that from what we saw from the Super Series, we got enough game time and enough game fitness to go out and cause major, major upsets. Because again, the Kenyans don't expect us to come this hard.
Okay. And guys, I should say the one thing that the Bamburi Rugby Super Series has showed us is that our player base is really narrow, hasn't it? I mean, the Protector Rugby Super Series also showed us that, but also Bamburi is showing us, because when you look at Kenya, first of all, they don't have 2 different sets of players, you know, featuring within this Rugby Super Series. But the players from which they are selecting, you know, it's quite massive. It's actually jaw-dropping. What do we have to do to sort of mirror what the level at which Kenya is?
Yeah, of course, you look at a team like Ndovu, I think they have players from 6 clubs, that many.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much depth they have to pick from. But like we said earlier, what happened is Uganda is losing a lot of players somewhere in between schools rugby and club rugby. And that's why we're talking of Union looking at the under-20 league and university league. Because I'll tell you, Ivan Magomu, when was in Namilyango when they won a school's league.
Rugby league,
I can name only 2 players who are with Magomu in that team. Where did the 20 other players go? You look at Chimono's here. They actually only 2. You will name James Chimono and Kalyango, I think. There are no other players. Where did they go? That was a team that reached the final. So what happens is when they get out of school, if you're not picked by a club, that's it. If you don't end up in Makerere and join Impis, that's it. And if we can bridge that gap, we have the capacity to bring on board up to 1,000 players a year. It's very possible.
But the argument is that the Kenyans, they seem to profit more from that if they bring, you know, you've rightly described it as a watered down squad in the Bamburi Rugby Super Series, you know, to face, you know, some of our A-listed players, that they tend to benefit more.
Yes, it would. I wouldn't say bring in your top players, but there are some players who have probably been out on injury during the league and are just trying to make it back. Some players that are just breaking into, like again, I would go back to Eba. He needs to go and be beaten up by some Kenyans before he can actually steal up to the brothers.
But of course, to add to Alan, like he says, match fitness. Yes, the Kenyans, their first team is out, but it was in South Africa, I think. Playing trial games. We are not playing any trial games. So it would have been a good opportunity to try out the team you've had for months and see what can they do and what can't they do.
Okay. Well, that's it from us today. Remember, you can keep in touch with us using the Rock and Roll hashtag. From the 3 of us, it's good day and goodbye.